Hey everyone, it's Nick here from roofer.com. Thank you for joining the Masterclass. Really excited to see everybody here. And today I'm joined by Astawa. Astawa is on our marketing team. He is the guru of everything that you see on social. So, Astawa, do you want to give a quick little intro?
For sure. Thanks, Nick. Roofer, it's great to meet you all. Like you said, my name is Astawa Alam. I joined Roofer a few months ago as a content marketing manager. So, helping lead all things marketing here, all things social, content on a website, really listening to all of you roofers to see what you need to help grow your business, scale it to the next level. And today, Nick and I are going to dive into a bit of a conversation around some of the mistakes that I've learned that roofers might make when they're first starting out, and some of the mistakes that Nick's seen them all make too. What are we talking about today, Nick?
Yeah, really excited. It's talking about how to start a roofing business. Don't make these rookie mistakes. And what we're kind of really going to base our conversation on is your awesome blog piece that you put on at roofer.com for the 7 resources every roofer needs to grow their business. Really good content on the Roofer blog, everyone. If you do want to check it out, there's a lot in there. If you even just go to roofer.com/resources, there's a lot of good information there when it comes down to a podcast, master classes like this, and blog posts. There's a lot of great blog posts in there to kind of help get your business going and kind of learn from everybody else. One thing that unfortunately Pete's not here today, as you can see, but one thing that Pete and I always talk about, and Pete always mentions, is we at Roofer, we talk to hundreds of roofers a week. So we get to see from the biggest of the big, from the smallest of the small, how they're each running their business, how they're setting up stuff. So the team over here at Roofer on sales, support, and success, we're a great resource to kind of bounce ideas off of. I got off a call right before this with a company that was just kind of rebranding and starting up, and they were looking at kind of what did they have to do to get everything moving, and it was really really cool. We got to kind of talk about what the process is, what are the things that they should be looking at, so that they're not kind of putting the horse before the carriage. So I'm really excited to have Astawa here to kind of go over everything and start talking about what we can do to help everybody here that's watching at like live now or at home later, what you can do to start off your roofing business to not make those rookie mistakes.
So, Nick, why don't we start at the beginning? So, when people are planning their business and they have a grand vision of what they want it to look like in a few years' time, and the king of their own empire, the queen of their own empire, what are some of the first kind of things that roofers should be thinking about when they're planning the beginning of their business, or like the first year when they're starting out?
Of course, like there's a bunch of things that you're going to come at you fast when you're starting a company, and it really starts off with what is your business going to be. With roofing, there's so many options out there. Are you going to have subs, or are you going to have in-house crews? Are you going to be a residential contractor or a commercial contractor? Do you need state licenses or insurance or anything like that in your area? And are you going to be retail facing or insurance facing? All those things are things that you want to kind of start out with. So starting out with a business plan. We did a great podcast with David from the roofing show, and he has a great podcast. And one of the things that he starts off with talking with Pete is having that business plan, really setting in stone what you want to do, where you want to go, and keeping it narrow at first. You don't want to go kind of like spraying in all directions and saying, I'm going to do this and this and this. Like you could do painting, you could do siding, you could do roofing. You're going to spread yourself too thin. Find something and become very, very good at that one thing. And that's how you can get your name out there and start growing your business. On our blog, we do have the 9 essential items you need in your roofing business plan. That's a really great way to start. But again, going to the Small Business Administration, going to the Law Depot, going to the businessplans.com, those are ways to kind of go and talk to your roofer teammates here. Sorry, your contacts at Roofer, your success team, your sales team, all these people. We're happy to kind of take a look at what is needed to do to get going. One of the other
Okay,
things that I
so
oh, go ahead. Sorry, you first.
no, you're touching on a lot, so I'll make sure that we dig into some of these because I know
Mhm.
I definitely have questions, and if I have questions, I know our audience has questions
Yeah.
too. One of the pieces you mentioned there was around finding a focus or finding a niche. What does this look like? Because aren't all don't all roofs just need servicing? Like if you go to a neighborhood, can't don't all the homes in that neighborhood need my services as a roofer?
That's a
How
great
should I think about
question.
niching down?
Yeah, so when you're looking at something like that and you're going into a neighborhood, let's just focus on residential here for a second. So when I was a roofer for 20 years, my dad's a roofer and everything as well. What we really focused on was residential, and I'm going to kind of narrow in on this. When you're going through a neighborhood, there's a lot of different roofs out there. You're going to be looking at ones that are freshly done, ones that have been that have some algae growth on them, some that you could definitely see are in dire need of a repair. So it's really good to kind of go out and if you watch some of our earlier master classes, is kind of prepping yourself so that you are setting yourself up for a sale every time, building out a
Mm,
proposal where you can really focus on shingles and you're the shingle person, that you know that you're what you're looking for on the roof, having tools like the company cam so you can have photo documentation, and having something like a roofer like we do with proposals, and having a good, better, best, or a multi-option proposal. What we've gone up through before, to kind of go to where you're going with Astawa, every roof does
mhm,
need something. When you get a phone call and you're going out to do an inspection on the roof, having something that it's measured right away, but also giving the customer options. So a repair option, a maintenance option, and then a full replacement option. And then adding in financing there, you're going to guarantee a walking out with a signed contract 9 times out of 10, because you're giving the customer what they desperately need, options. They're giving you a call at a time of need, usually because their roof is leaking or something's wrong. People aren't planning ahead for their roofs. It's one of the
of
last things that
course.
you think about. So giving them options so that they're able to kind of take a look at what you're offering, understand it, be educational and transparent with brochures, with photos, with
Gotcha.
uploads, and then being able to show them, yes, you do need your roof replaced, but do you need it right now? Maybe that's not the
Hmm.
case. Maybe we can do a repair to start, a maintenance program to follow up, and then a year or so we can revisit
Hmm.
this so you have time to buy the
Okay.
roof and also have that financing option as well.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a under a company that can be a number of different services or tiers that someone might offer to a residential neighborhood. So how should I be including that in my business plan when I'm first starting to plot all this out?
Yeah, you're gonna want to see what you're good at. Find out your strengths. There is a beer company up in Ontario, Canada, called Steam Whistle, and their slogan can
Hmm.
apply to so many of these things. It's do one thing really, really well. And this could
Mm,
really apply to your roofing business. Do one thing very, very well. Do shingles very, very well. Do metal very, very well. What are your strong points, and kind of narrow in on this? Because what you want to do, and we'll be talking about this later, is becoming an industry expert. These homeowners aren't going to
hmm.
know a lot about their roof. They're going to only know what they found online or heard from friends and
Right.
neighbors. So become that industry expert, and focusing on that one thing you do very, very well is going to get you on that business plan to start off in that kind of niche, whether it is a in-house crew, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, whether it's
Hmm.
retail, whether it's insurance. Find that niche of yours and go down that lane.
So the thing with business plans that I want to make sure that we also talk about is that even if you don't do it, a business plan is kind of like that thing that you know you should do, but
Hmm.
chances are you got started without it. So
Yeah,
for anyone who's listening, who's maybe a year or two into their business, is it too late for them to go and actually make a business plan happen for themselves?
it's almost better if you're at that standpoint, because you've gone through the trials and tribulations of that first year. You've seen what stuck, what
Hmm.
didn't stick, what's really kind of like having momentum for you, and what has stalled. So if you're at that 1 year part, there's no, or even 2 years or anything like that, there's no need to just halt and just be like, oh, I didn't do a business plan, I can't do it now. No, you can
Yeah.
start building this out now. You've seen what's worked, and now let's really focus on those things that you've seen success with. Maybe it's gutters,
Hmm.
maybe it's shingles, maybe any of these things. You could start to really focus on, where have I seen the most positive experience from my customers, from my reviews, from my installation, and from my
Hmm.
profit. A lot of people overthink their profit all the time. Make sure that you're making something comfortable that can sustain your business's growth, but also make sure that you're not selling yourself short. It's a business after all. You need to make some money.
Right. You know, I always thought that starting with a business plan was too much in the air because it's just a bunch of hypotheticals. But from what I'm hearing you say, actually waiting to maybe waiting for like a year or two into the business actually helps you build a more actionable business plan. Is that right?
Yeah, it's exactly it. They kind of like will kind of get your feet wet, if you will, finding out what is
Right.
necessary, where's your time to shine, and finding where you can
Yeah.
be that industry expert in your field is going to really make that movement. I talked to somebody about a week ago. He was just starting out. He ordered his first roofer report from us. The first one's free, obviously, and he landed that job and just finished building it. He's a
Nice.
one man crew, just starting out, and he's like, "This is all I needed just to get me that little extra money to get my business going." So he did not have a business plan. He didn't have anything going. He was writing
Love it.
his quotes on a piece of paper, and from there he was able to get his ball moving and start
Hmm.
building out that business plan, building out where his niche is, and growing from there.
Real scrappy A. So
Yeah.
for those one men team who are too busy actually doing the jobs and can't go to business school or sit down and write a full plan, are there any templates that you recommend for people to start building up business plans for themselves?
Yeah, if you go to the Roofing Show podcast, there's a lot of good links on like how to start a business plan. He has a lot of good links there, so you can go in and check that out. So roofing www.theroofingshow.com, I believe it is, and you can go there and
Okay.
take a look at that. I think the next step, especially if you're a one man or two man or two what person, like you could be a woman or man in there, show.
Hmm.
What you want to really look into is step number two in our blog. There is securing the right tools and equipment. And what does that mean is you got to really make sure that you're set up to go. So whether that is your truck, your power ladder, obviously your tools, your drills and stuff, those are the obvious ones. But the other tools that you're going to be looking at is things to kind of run your business. A quoting tool,
Okay.
a measurement tool, a invoicing tool. Those things are imperative. Your cell phone, you could run everything nowadays off your cell phone, so that works. Laptop is good too, but you
Sure.
can get that going. But having those tools in place to streamline your business and get it off the ground, I think that one of my favorite tools out there, and it's great for every starting company, is QuickBooks. QuickBooks is there's other invoicing tools like Xero and stuff, but QuickBooks has such a
Hmm.
low starting point. You could build invoices, you could track customers, you could have everything there and see your metrics. That's a tool that I think every single person should get before they start their business so that they could start running invoices, getting paid, and continuing to grow. After that, tools like roofer.com, where we have measurements, proposals, and more, a mini CRM to track customers and jobs, that's great as well. And then having
Hmm.
other tools in there, like a company cam, where you could document photos and everything for a very low cost. You want to be scrappy when you start out. You don't want to be spending
Yeah.
money willy nilly.
Well,
And
this definitely sounds like a long list, though. So we've talked about
yeah,
QuickBooks for invoicing, talked about Company Cam for workflow. I think you mentioned quoting there as well and reports. If I'm 90 days in or 6 months into my business and I haven't implemented any of these tools, what would you say is like one of the first tools that I should go and make sure that I'm locked in on?
QuickBooks as some sort of invoicing
QuickBooks?
tool right off the bat, because
Yeah. Why is that?
you could do a lot with that tool. You could even send out quotes in there. You could send out invoices. They're not
Hmm.
going to be the most professional and best looking quotes out there, but they'll be
Okay.
computerized and you could email them and really have that there. From there, you could send out invoices and collecting payments and making sure that your books are right is where so many companies fail. In the first 2 years
Mm.
of your business, the numbers in the roofing industry is astounding. First 2 years in business, it's around 80% of the companies fail. In the first five, it's
Well.
around 85. It's like running a restaurant. This is a tough industry to get going in and get over those humps. So you need to make sure that you got your ducks in a row and you have something that you
Hmm.
can track how much you're spending, what's in your bank account, what's my
Hmm.
accounts receivable at, and that would be the first tool I always start with. Whether it's
Okay.
QuickBooks, I love QuickBooks because they're low monthly cost and their options that they have. But there's also Zero is another great option out there as well. Having an invoicing tool to start off should be your number one.
Number one invoicing tool. And more on the topic of money, what are some of the mistakes you've seen companies make around the finance topic? I know, again, some of our audience members are great at what they do with a tooth, with a nail and a hammer. But when it comes to managing the books, what are some easy areas that people might slip up or ignore until it's too late?
Taxes.
Tax,
I've seen it
taxes.
so many times. We all hate taxes. We hate paying the man, but at the same time, you gotta and the IRS and the CRA, if you're in Canada, they'll find you, And I've seen it so many times where businesses have started out, started growing, had some good things, but they've messed up on their taxes there, and
Hmm.
it sewers them. You got to really make sure that you're in line, and having a tool, an invoicing tool, where you could put in those tax amounts, you know what your payables are and everything else like that. If you do unfortunately get audited, you have a track record of everything, and you could provide
Right.
that. You want to make sure that you're protected there, and that's the spot that people start failing before the quoting tool, before the measurement tool, before their website. That's the starting point
Keeping
right
your
there.
books in order, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So one tool, QuickBooks for managing your invoices. And you mentioned quoting. It's not the prettiest there, but of course, as we know, quotes are super important in landing your first sale. What do you recommend on quotes and getting those out to customers?
Obviously, us. Roofer.com is going to be really, really good for kind of getting your quotes out. But there's a lot of other tools out there that do find quotes, and it really comes down to what you're
Hmm.
looking for. A lot of great software out there. A lot of the big CRMs have quoting tools in there. I really like Job Nimbus and what they have to offer. I think that you could get a lot in there, from lead management to workflowing to quoting to invoicing, and they're synced with QuickBooks as well. But
Hmm.
I really recommend people listening to resources and kind of finding out stuff like this. You're here to watch this stuff, which is great. Check out podcasts. There's a lot of good podcasters out there. Tim Brown with Hook Better Leads has got a great podcast. Our boy Michael Stearns from Ascend Digital has a great podcast. The Roofing Show I mentioned as well has a great one there too. These are people that are going to be able to help you out, and they have topics about everything about starting your business. For us, shameless plug, roofer.com. We have a wonderful podcast hosted by Pete McKendrick there. Episode number 2 and episode number 3 are really fantastic podcasts with Latif Faruqi from Boss Up Solutions, talking about how to start your business, when is it time for a CRM, and what are the tools you need. And then episode
Hmm.
3 is with Aaron Trujillo and John Broche, and they talk about setting up the systems to grow your business. Those are two very good podcasts to listen to see when is it time to grow to a CRM, when is it time to build a quoting tool, when is it time to
Hmm.
get a measurement tool. Those things are really imperative, because it's not always the first thing you need is a CRM. Sometimes it comes with a bit of
Hmm.
time, but if you have a way like a roofer.com to track customers and jobs, or a QuickBooks or something to kind of just keep you
Yeah.
organized in the first place, then you can really grow from there.
Okay. So CRM, that's an acronym you mentioned a couple of times, and acronyms can definitely be a black box for people who haven't heard them before.
Of
Can you do a
course.
quick 101 on what CRMs are and why it's important for a roofing business to have one in the beginning?
Yeah, of course. So when you're looking at CRMs, it's a customer relationship management software. So it is a technology to manage all your company's relationships and interactions with customers and potential customers. That sounds really smart. I read it off a web page, so do not give me the
Go ahead,
credit.
so
But basically, what it's going to be is you're going to track your customers, track your jobs, be able to see where they are in their buying process, make sure that everything, the notes and files and everything are there. So you could really make sure that you are organized. I'm going to quickly share my screen here for a second and show you a little bit about
please.
Roofer. So I'm a very visual learner, and so I like to kind of paint a picture with my words. Sometimes I don't do a good job, so it's better to show it. So in Roofer, you see on the left-hand side, we have customers and jobs. This is a great way to kind of start organizing everything that you need here. And I like to think it as a Russian nesting doll situation. You have your
Mhm.
customers, you open that up. Inside, you have jobs, you open those up, you have measurements and proposals and notes. So, for example, if I have a customer here and his name is Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl winner, I got lucky. He's one of my first
Familiar.
customers. Yeah. So I could go
Must
in
be a
and
big job.
yeah, exactly. It's actually just for his pool house. It's 4,800 square feet. It's a massive
You can
pool
work
house.
your way up there, maybe
Uh,
upsell to them.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So if you're in a situation where you have a CRM or a mini CRM, like something that Roofer offers or QuickBook offers, you could quickly and effortlessly search for their information, typing in that customer's name, finding it out. I know when back in the day when we're starting up businesses and stuff like that, our CRMs are usually on a piece of
Mhm.
paper in our truck. But if you roll down that window,
Right.
that piece of paper, your CRM could go right out the
Flies
window
out.
and you lose
Lost all your
everything.
customers.
or you have like notebooks, you're old school, you have all that option. But now with tools like this, like a CRM, customer relationship management system, you could search the information. If you need to call Tom Brady, you got his number. If you need to email him, you
Mm.
got his information. If you want some more information on him, you can find out the job that he's in. You can go in here and take a look at the job. If
Oh,
you want
nice.
more information on it, you can go and find his measurement reports, his quote, and any notes that I've made before. So it's tracked, dated, time stamped. This is what a customer relationship management tool will do for you and be able to
Hmm.
go through it. Again, Roofer is not the CRM. We are the sales tool that is going to help you. But we do have that mini CRM capability in here to track the customers, to track the jobs, to track the measurements, to track the proposals. This is imperative for
Right.
you as a growing company to help with one of the most important things out there, customer service. If somebody calls you
Yeah.
and says, "Hey, my name is Tom Selleck, and I need to go in and find Tom Selleck into my CRM because he needs a copy of his
Hmm.
signed quote from a while ago." I could open this up and find out which job it was. It was on this one
You've
over
got the
here.
history there, right?
I got all the history. I have the notes. I have the dates. And if Tom Selleck needs a signed proposal, I can view, download it, and send it out to him. Being able to
Amazing.
help out your customers quickly is going to be everything for a growing roofing business because those reviews and that word of mouth matters.
What's interesting about this, Nick, is that I can see I can imagine a lot of people kind of shaking their heads, saying, "I don't need this. I just shake hands and keep track of this in my mind." And to
Mhm.
them, I feel like both of us, you and I, would say, "Sure, that might be easy when you've got one, five, or maybe 10 customers." But if you go back to the customers page that you're on initially, when you have a growing business and you have hundreds or thousands of customers, you can't really keep track of them in your head unless you've got some crazy memory in your head, right?
Yeah, things fall through the cracks. And also, when you're running a business, there's so much going on. You have
Yeah,
the job going on over here. You have this customer banging down your door saying, like, I need a quote. This customer over here is like, why am I delayed? I know it was raining, but I need my roof done now. Then
yeah,
there's a lot going on. When you're running a business, and especially when you're starting a business, you're wearing every hat known to man, and you're putting different hats on every 2 seconds. You're running admin, you're running payroll, you're doing all this. Having something just to kind of simplify it and know that it's there for you is going to be able to not only streamline your workflow, but give you that peace of mind so that you could really attend to what's up on your plate. Go priority
hmm,
level always. So you're like, hey, this person's got a leak, got to deal with him. This person needs payroll, I got to deal with that. And having a CRM system so you could kind of follow along with what's happening with everything. You can go and search everything right away, find out that name. You don't even have to
love it.
type the entire thing in, and finding out all the information right away.
So obviously, as a growing business, one of our goals is going to be to have the CRM full of customers. But before we get there, we have to have a customer or a couple of customers that keep coming back to us and trust us. So can you walk us through a bit of that process around landing your first big project and making sure they keep coming back to you for more and more projects in the future?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to turn off the screen so we can focus a little bit on this because this is a topic that I love. We're going to be talking about landing that first sale and getting that marketing out there. Those things are very important. And there's a lot of ways. Marketing's a scary word. I know you're in marketing, Astawa, but a lot of people think when you talk marketing, you're talking big dollars. And when you're starting a
Hmm.
company and you're trying to be scrappy, you don't have
You
those
don't
big
have big
dollars.
dollars. Yep.
So, but it doesn't have to be that. What's amazing about what we got going on right now is we have social media. It's free, and you can really just blast out your name as much as you want with videos on TikTok. Look at TJ McCormick. TJ
Hmm.
McCormick has over a quarter
World's greatest
million
roofer.
followers. Yeah, world's greatest roofer on TikTok. You guys should follow him. He's such a great resource. If you follow him on Facebook, he gives you tips and tricks all the time, but he gets out stuff all the time and he's always posting. He's got 250,000 followers on TikTok and he's posting out content. And what you could always put in your link, your website link, talking about the job that you're on, talking about the things that you're doing for a customer, talk with a customer. All those things are going to be out in the ether. When someone searches your name, searches your hashtag, they're going to find you. That's a great way to do marketing and keep the marketing down. You could also look at people like Joseph Hughes, Patrick Carr in this industry that have a lot of free, great resources on how to grow your company through social and not spending big bucks on advertising dollars. This is a great
Right.
way to kind of get your name out, get the people coming towards you and putting out door signs, putting out signs in front of the jobs that you're doing. And then my favorite thing, and I'm going to turn the screen back on because this is super exciting,
Go for it.
is door knocking. Door knocking is a contentious thing in the industry. Some people say it's horrible, some people it's good, but when you're starting out, if you did that first job and your crew's working on it, there, I guarantee you there's some houses nearby that have those doors that need to be knocked because their roofs need to be done. So why not go out there and start knocking on people's doors saying, "Hey, my name's Nick. I'm doing the roof over there. Sorry about the noise. I know it's a little bit messy, noisy right now, but
Hmm.
we're going to be done real quick. I'm going to make sure it's cleaned over here." One of my favorite tricks was talking to them and being like, the next door neighbors especially, "Hey, is it okay if I pop into your backyard? Some garbage might fall in there. I want to make sure it's pretty. Want to sure it's magneted so that there's no nails." But I did notice
Yeah.
you got some problems with your roof here. Have you looked into getting it done? And if you have something like the roofer.com's instant estimator tool, you can
Yeah.
have this on an iPad and turn it around and say, "Hey, Mr. Jones, I know that you need your roof done. Would you like just a ballpark price on it? And I could maybe give you a free inspection, take some photos on it."
Mm.
They're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I would." So you could put
Nick,
in
what I love about this, just quick
yeah.
interruption. What I love about this, and I want to highlight this to our viewers, because door knocking, like you said, has can get a bad rep in our community, right?
Mhm.
Because people can feel scammy and salesy. But what I want to highlight and what you just did is that your whole script, it wasn't about being pushy or giving them something that they don't need. Your whole approach was educational. Let me try and build a rapport with you. I'm here looking after your neighbor's roof, and I'll make sure that your roof looks just as great as theirs does. So I just want to take a quick break to highlight that in what you were saying for our audience here. But carry on.
Be a solutions expert, do not be a salesperson. That's where
Be a
people go
solutions
wrong, is
expert.
if you go down their throat, be like, "You need your roof done, let's get it done, I'm the guy," you're going to get pushback. If you talk to them about like, "Hey, I'm making a lot of noise down here, I'm just knocking on the doors saying, hey, I'm going to be
Hmm.
here. If you do have any questions, if my trucks are in the way, let me know. And let me educate you on your roof as well, because there is some issues here. I
Love
see
it.
some streaking. It could be algae. You know what algae does? It eats up the shingle. So you have a tool like this on your iPad, on your phone, or anything, and you can go in here and let me just write in the address here, Foothill Road, and find out their square footage amount instantly. So it's an approximate square footage, and you could walk them
Hmm.
through this and blow their mind. Tell you it's a moderate roof with asphalt on there right now. It's residential. They want to go back with asphalt. They need it done in the next 1 to 3 months, and they are interested in financing. Um, please help them. You can get this information out to them.
SOS.
It's SOS. This is an emergency. Um, get the smoke signals out. So you can gather all their information, their name, their address,
Hmm.
their email address, their phone number, and be able to get them a quote within a couple seconds. So you can.
Wait, is that it? That's all you had to do?
That's all you had to do. You got to customize things
I
in
think that was
here.
under like a minute.
It's under 26 seconds, I could tell you. So it's
Damn.
it's a good amount there. So getting this information in front of them, giving them that transparency and education up front, telling them a ballpark of what their roof can cost is going to be able to open up the doors. And think about that word of mouth when that customer tells their friend, being like, "Yo, this dude knocked on my door because he was doing the roof next to
Yeah.
me, and he told me he was going to clean up my yard. He wasn't even doing my roof. He apologized for the noise, and then mentioned my roof, and I never thought about my roof, but he gave me a price within 26 seconds, and he gave
Yeah.
me different
While you're there,
options
why
as
not?
well. And this is the kind of thing, if you're door knocking, if you're canvassing, if you're doing a neighborhood, there's homes out there that need it. Why not introduce yourself? If you're a sales rep at a mid-sized company as well, and you're trying to get your name out there, you just sold your first
Hmm.
job. Really exciting. Congrats. Go out there to inspect that,
Ride
put
that
some
wave.
and ride that wave. Yeah. Just go
Yep.
down the street and
You
just
know,
introduce
I think
yourself.
you've heard about this too. We've talked about it on the podcast before. I think it's called the six pack tactic, right? And
Yes.
it's similar to what you're describing. You go knock on one house, maybe you land that job, you're mid job, and then go knock on the six houses around it and use something like the instant estimator to give them quotes in what, less than a minute. So if it takes less than a minute to do one of these and you're in one neighborhood, how many houses do you think you could do in like a whole day?
It's crazy, and especially if you have that tag on why you're there. You're not just a traveling salesman. I'm doing
Yeah,
that house over there. So you could
I'm
see
here
my
for a
work
reason.
afterwards. You could see how good I am, how you could talk to the homeowner, how their experience was. Let me give you a chance to give you a quote in the meantime as well. So building
Love
that
it.
process here, landing your first sale with a fully educational and transparent quoting service where you can build something out in Roofer in a matter of seconds and have something that looks stunning to them and be able to educate them on what's going on the roof, who you are, what is
Hmm.
going, and all the options. You could really kind of make a
What are you
splash
looking at here?
there. We're looking at a proposal that I that did out for this Mary Sweeney character here.
Okay.
I got all her information. I have a branded report, and like I said earlier, this is a multi-option proposal where you have shingle repair option, flat roof repair, maintenance options, full shingle replacement, and upgrades. And you can see that she picked the two maintenance options, which is perfect. I got a signed contract. It's not the full $4,000 that I wanted, but it's $1,500, and I'm guaranteeing my work after this because I'm going to make sure that she's
Nice.
helping. But what ends up happening is if you educate them on what a roof repair is, on what the products are that you're going to be offering, and you could have this all in your quote. This is what we're talking about, landing your first sale in marketing and getting your tools in line. Having a situation
Hmm.
like this while showing their actual damages on the roof right off the bat and what you're going to be
Whoa.
helping them out this is what's going to
Okay.
land you that first sale and more sales to come. Being educational, being transparent, being open to them, and understanding that a roof is not something people are planning to do. A roof is something that
Right.
they're
Okay.
needing to do.
So this was super professional, and you're an expert because you've done this 100 times. But what are some of the mistakes that people run into on their first time? Like you're so good at this now because you've done this over and over again. But for someone who's doing this for the first couple of times, giving someone an estimate and then doing a proposal like this, what are some of the common pitfalls that you see them being a victim to?
Some of the common pitfalls that I see is not giving options. People are going to want options. They're going to go out there and look at other options that are there. So if they're going to say, I need to get quotes from three different roofers, a very common thing that we've
Hmm.
all heard in this industry, why not give them
Sure.
three different quotes? Give them a quote on a good, better, best system. Give them a quote on a shingle repair, a maintenance, and a full replacement. Give them options because they're going to go look for it regardless. Very rarely are you going to meet someone who it's one quote, one option, one sale. That would be really
Mm.
cool. It'd be like the Highlander number 2. So there could
But we
only
don't
be
live in that
one.
world, eh?
But we don't live in this world. So you're going to need to give them options. And that's one mistake. Figure out how you're doing it. If you are a ICO installer, offer certain Cambridge and Dynasty. If you're an Owens Corning, offer Oak Ridge and Duration. If you're GAF, offer Timberline and
Hmm.
HGZ. Give them options and show the value of choosing each option. The second thing that I find that a lot of people get mistaken
What's
on
that?
is not giving education, is just providing a
Okay.
blank quote. So imagine I came to your door, Astawa, and all
Yeah.
I gave you was this page. Be like, hey, this is my
I
logo,
wouldn't
this
really
is
know what
my
I'm looking at.
information. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
thankfully I have
And
descriptions
I'm
here.
someone who knows nothing about roofs, right? So what more could you give here that would build that trust?
Well, that's the thing. So the one thing is adding descriptions under your names. That's a nice little benefit there. But again, if it's just one
Okay.
option, one page, that's what everybody else is giving. You got to stand apart from the crowd. Give them something
Yeah.
where you could hand out brochures, stats on the products that you're offering. That this is a limited lifetime warranty. You got an ironclad protection for 15 years. This is 130 mile per hour wind rating. Give them that education and show them why this my product that I'm offering you is the right product for you and your home. Your home is your biggest investment. Your roof is protecting that investment. Let me make sure that you're making the right decision on it because roofing, she ain't cheap. She's going to be
Well,
it's going to be pricey. So let's make sure that your investment is well worth your while. So that's a second mistake I see a lot of people do is not
love it.
provide any documentation with this to help them out. The
Okay,
third,
let's put a pin right there for
yes,
our audience because I want to mark this because that was another beautiful script for them to steal word for word and maybe make into their own. So if you're watching this live, note this down. And if you're watching the recording, pause it, go back and replay that and copy down what Nic said because that will probably land you your first sale, if not your 17th sale down the line.
it was
All right,
my
what's
it
next,
was
Nic?
it was my go-to wording. It's your home is your biggest investment. Your roof is
It
protecting that
worked
investment.
clearly.
Yeah, so it helps out a lot. So the third thing is photos. If you're going to go out there and you're going to look at their roof and you're going to come down off that ladder and say, "Hey, Mrs.
Hmm.
Jones, your roof is screwed. You need it done now." Have evidence. if you have a tool like a company cam or you have a cell phone, I'm assuming you could
Hmm.
take photos of it and show them. If you don't have an app or a tool like this where you could upload the photos directly into the proposal, have that phone
Hmm.
open so you could turn it around to them and just
Show it
start
right there.
scrolling through and educating them on what's going on with that, what's happening with your roof. Well, ma'am, over here, if you'd see, you have organic asphalt shingles that have been deteriorating. They're deteriorating because they're discontinued. They're discontinued because they were deteriorating. Seems okay. So what's happening is that they're expanding and contracting at an alarming rate because there's water between the asphalt, and so they're failing here. The other problem that you have is right on this transition here. The transition of that pitched roof to the low slope roof should not be done with 3-tab shingles, and they should not be overdone showing
Yeah.
the rain lines
You're
there.
really just using these to educate the customer, right?
They don't know about roofing. Teach them about roofing. Don't teach them about like everything like oh, this over here, this is why we're going to do it because of this. You're going to teach them what code is, what manufacturer specs are, and how you can make their life so that they never have to do the roof again for the next
Okay.
20 years.
Yeah.
So show them what's going on, what happened with their roof and what's happening and how it can be better. If you combine multi-option photos and brochures and specs about their products, and finally inspection photos, you have a winning
Hmm.
formula. The only thing else that you could add that might be better is financing. Financing is a tricky one because when you first start out your business, most financing companies aren't going to jump in on you. They're going to wait
Okay.
to that 1 year to 2 year mark. So just kind of hold strong. When you get to that level, you could start offering financing. But financing is the third piece to this that could really kind of close in. Um,
Would you say
I,
financing helps close more deals?
Yes, you kind of led into exactly what I wanted to say next, which was if anybody again searching for things online, some resources to learn. John DeRosa from SRS Academy. He is a sales coach. He is brilliant. I've seen him live at conferences. He just completely changed the way I thought about quoting, and I've been doing this forever. So what you want to do is you're always going to have an objection at the end. The objection at the end is always 9 times out of 10 going to be price. It's
Price? Okay.
never going to be cheap to do your roof. So how do you overcome those objections? Number one would be giving multi options. Number two is going to
Mm.
be having buy-in on your company. Talk about who you are as a company, why you should be going with me, why you should be believing in me, and working throughout that. Once you have that buy-in, get buy-in on your product. And number three, with that buying on the product, is showing those documentation on the descriptions of each line item, along with the actual what would I say, the brochures. That's the word I was looking for. So you
Yeah.
can have these things kind of built out. I'll show you this quick little proposal here on a Why Choose Us page and how you can get buy-in on your company very simply by
Okay.
adding in a page like this. A Why Choose Us page,
Oh.
we have it on most of our websites. This is directly from my dad's website. Talk about what you've done. Obviously, you're just starting out, so you're not going to have this 25 years there, but talk about what you're
Hmm.
certified in, who you are, where you come from. Have them buy into your story first. Then
Mm.
buy in on the products. You got the descriptions and everything. Then buy in on the actual manufacturer that you're going to be selling them. And then
Okay.
finally, at the very end, you're going to have them buy in on the pricing. That's the hardest thing to do
So
there.
this example was interesting because this is a business that's been around for 25 years. But for the folks that have maybe been around for a year or two, how can they get customers to buy into them when they haven't been around for over 2 decades? Any tips there?
We all have a story. We all know where we came from. So you just started out and just being like, hey, look, I've been roofing for 5 years and I was a top roofer at my company. And I really wanted to help out customers a little bit better. And I really wanted to make something for myself and for my family. Have a photo of you and your
Hmm.
dog, you and your daughter, something in there to kind of get buy in on who you are and what you're trying to build for
I hear you.
yourself. And talk about if you have other customers, bring in reviews, have some photos of some reviews or a
Right.
quick video of you talking with a homeowner that you just did their roof. Those things like are worth 1,000 words. And it doesn't
Gotcha.
matter if you've been in business for 25 years. If you have that right customer story and you're that right person for that client, they're going to buy in on you.
Gotcha. That's helpful.
Yeah.
So we've spent a lot of time now talking about sales and getting that first customer, the first few customers. Let's wind the clock forward a little bit to maybe year 2.5 or 3, where I have a handful of customers that are coming in regularly.
Mhm.
Now my focus is having a more streamlined and efficient business. What should I be thinking about here? What mistakes do I make? What do people make when it comes to running a more efficient business?
Yeah, it's I would say one of the biggest mistakes that I see in the industry is putting the cart before the horse. If you're a couple years in, you're doing well, you got good people coming in, you have a steady
Hmm.
amount of leads. It's trying to expand too quickly. I when we had the
What do you mean?
marketplace, when we had the marketplace down in Florida, for example, we had some people that were like, "Hey, I'm killing it in Jacksonville. I'm really growing and I'm really doing well." And before mastering Jacksonville, they were like, "I'm going to expand
Mhm.
to Gainesville and to Tampa." I was like, "Hold your horses, buddy. Like
But that
this is
sounds like a good idea, right?
it sounds like a great idea, but you're thinking of all the responsibility it took to start that one location and to get your name out there. It takes just that amount of time, like it takes less time to ruin that reputation. So if you're going to take your
Ooh,
one thing that everything that you've built in, say, Jacksonville, Florida, and you're going to expand it to two different locations, you got to split your time and hire the right people and really make sure that these companies can get off, because you're going to be basically, you do have a good name in Jacksonville, but nobody knows you in
right.
Gainesville. Nobody knows you in
Okay.
Tampa. So you really got to get out there and really spend amount of time. And if you start spreading yourself too thin, you're going to forget about that original market and things can go down there. You might not be able to
Mm,
get it off in Gainesville and you're wasting money and time there. And you could really kind of close down your business, or you could really affect like your reputation as a whole. So let's not put the cart before the horse too quickly and not get too
mhm.
excited and go for the expansion. The play is to own your area, grow. I just got off a phone with somebody in I think it was yesterday. I was talking to him. He was just started out his business and he's now the top 3 roofers in Tucson, Arizona. He waited till he got
How
up
long did it take
there.
them to do that?
4 years. He's been growing very,
4
very
years.
fast. A
4
lot of
patient
high end.
years, huh?
Yeah, 4 patient years, but he's killing it. And now he's opened up in
Nice.
Phoenix, and he's doing it very strategically. He's opening up slowly and surely, and he's really focusing on referral clients and growth in there. And he's doing it right. He's
Okay.
not going too fast. He's not expanding to multiple cities and stuff like that. So he's starting
Okay.
and making a business for himself and crushing one market, making sure all your processes are in line. You know where your leads come in. We know how quickly we can measure those roofs, how quickly then we could service those customers with a detailed proposal, how quickly we
Hmm.
can close that job from that proposal with follow ups and stuff. And then how quickly we could invoice and collect the money, get reviews, and move on. That is a
So it sounds like there's a
process.
couple of processes then that he's really focused in on. You mentioned sales is one of those processes, actually doing the job. What are some of those other processes that he's really paid attention to over these past 4 years? And what should people be focusing on as they build up to that 4 year mark?
I would say the two ones that get overlooked a lot is production as well as reviews. So your
What do
admin
you mean?
team could be helping you out with setting up that production schedule, which means you sell the job, you got to set up a scheduling date for installing that job, you need to order that material, you need to have it delivered on that day and have your crew go in that day and have a clean, well executed installation so that your admin team could hop back in after, talk with the customer, get a nice review, get paid on that
Hmm.
AR, and then close out that file. Having that streamlined and
Gotcha.
really tight is going to help make sure that you can close out that market, that word of mouth is going to grow, and that you can then move
Hmm.
on to the next project efficiently, cleanly, and really grow your company one roof at a time that way.
Are there any tools you recommend for just streamlining processes in general?
Yeah, when you start looking at streamlining processes, one of the things that you want to streamline is your sales process, which we have tools like Roofer and other ones out there for that. The other one is a follow up process. The biggest
Mm,
part about sales is you lose out on that follow up. Sometimes it's not the first call, it's going to take some time. So if you use a tool like Hatch, it's one of our great partners out there, which is a follow up tool, which will email and text that client with like a natural cadence that you can sequence and workflow them.
oh, cool.
That's a really, really good opportunity to take some time off your plate, and really focus on other things while this is kind of doing a natural nurture campaign. The other cool
Right.
big tools out there are going back to Job Nimbus, having the ability on a CRM like that to have production added in there, being able to order your material, scheduling with calendars, send out workflows to the customer saying like, hey, we're going to be starting your roof tomorrow. Here are the steps that we need. Please leave your cars on the road. Please clear the
Mm,
driveway, all that stuff. And having your production manager in there to manage your sub crews, your installation crews, your cleanup crews, and your dumpster and bins is huge. And a
hmm
tool like Job Nimbus can really help you with that, really kind of streamline and bring everything there. So you're all working out of one system that you guys know you have a system of record essentially, where you know
That's awesome.
what you're going to be working on and having everything being able to work with that, like your roofer, your company cam, your QuickBooks, your suppliers, all into one system. And this is when you're at the year 2, year 3, year 4 part of your business.
Yeah, really becoming a pro, eh?
Exactly. So you could really kind of
Yeah.
lock that in and make sure that that one market is good. Then you could start thinking about expanding, growing your company, making sure you find the right partners out there to help you, whether it be administrative or GMs or
Mhm.
anything else like that, to grow your company from there.
We've talked a bit about growing pains in this masterclass, Nick, and I know one thing that a lot of roofing companies do when they start out is that it's usually themselves roofing alone or with a couple of buddies. And I know at that stage of the company, keeping things like a group chat or in a WhatsApp group works for them, like sharing photos of job sites. But as they grow and their team gets bigger and they're at multiple job sites, is there a tool you recommend that can help them kind of keep those photos of progress and stuff organized better than just a messy group text?
Yeah. There's it's what's really good about like the CRMs and stuff like that is that you can really leave notes, kind of communicate back and forth. Here's a prime example in Roofer, where you're talking to your team. You could have your names in here talking about the job, going back and forth with it time stamped and dated and everything, saying, at Robert, please make sure the quote has a good, better, best on. And then your sales rep can write back saying, waiting to send approval needed. That's a great way. In a system like Job Nimbus or equivalent CRMs like an AccuLinks, a RoofLink, all these, there is a
hmm
communication channel where you can leave notes for each other. I think a system like a Slack, where you could have everything kind of recorded in one area, and you could share tools and sync it with your other tools like Roofer and everything, would really help out as well. And the last one I think that is so overlooked and it's so affordable and so easy to use is something like Company Cam. With Company Cam, you're able to share your photos, you're able to grow everything with it and really kind of get your projects moving from time to time. It's effortless documentation, instant organization, shared accountability, and built in marketing all in one. This is something that you guys could use to sync with tools like Roofer. Documents can share back and forth with measurements and proposals. You could also share it with your project manager. So when they go out to take photos of the job after they're being done for inspection purposes, for permitting purposes, you have the before, during, and after photos in there. And you can make notes to each other to document everything in one spot. Having these things that speak to each other as well, like
Mm.
a Zapier integration or a direct integration like we have with Company Cam, is going to stop from that the double note taking and everything, and really streamline your process from end to end from all parts of your company.
This is a lot. And I know for a lot of people listening, this can sound kind of like almost unnecessary at the beginning stage, but I know a lot of this stuff can really make a difference further down the line if you set it up properly in year one. Have you been around any business owners that felt this way before?
Oh yeah. I like we talk to them every day. It's an overwhelming experience, but if you just take it one step at a time and lean on those industry experts and listen to those podcasts and read those books. One of the best books that I've read in so long is from Martin Pettigrew. He owns Monarch Roofing. He also owns
hmm
Riva. He's got a company, a book called The Roofing Machine, and it's talking about how to like level up your industry and your company from growing a company from he makes a joke that it's like it wasn't Chuck in a truck, it was Martin in a Cadillac. He was an old Cadillac with a roof on there, and he's built up to like a 40
Nice.
million plus business, which is great.
Ooh.
So reading books like that, and especially from your industry experts that have done this and gone those things, is going to really be able to break this apart. Looking at resources like Roofer and finding like blog
Mhm.
resources like how to become a roofing expert, or listening to podcasts to hear. These are things that are going to help you get to that next level. And honestly, anybody who's watching this or anybody who's here live, you're one step ahead of your competition that are starting out. You're looking for resources to learn. That's that's what far beyond what other people are doing already. They're trying to bootstrap it, which is good, but there's a lot of free content out there. Use it to your advantage. Read some books, listen to podcasts, watch some webinars. These things are going to be able to break it apart bit by bit. And don't take one person's word for it.
Mm.
Listen to a myriad of different things. Listen to Tim Brown's podcast, Michael Stern's podcast, The Roofing Show, us. There's a lot of people out
Yeah.
there, and Facebook
We're not
groups.
selfish here.
No, we're not. And these are all great resources. And take what you've heard from all of them and build your perfect business. Build what you want to build with taking all these great points from these industry experts to grow your company.
I love it. Nic, this sounds, there's so many things that we can talk about here for hours on end. And I think we'll have to do a part two at some time to dive into
Yeah.
that. But as we come up on time here, I wanted to ask one question to kind of close us off with.
Yes.
And that is your dad, I think you mentioned earlier, who's been in this business now for 25 years.
Mhm.
What do you think he knows now, or you know now, that you two wish he knew 25 years ago when he started his business?
That's a great question. Um, it's not all about
Take
the
a second
money.
if you need to.
I
Is that
think
it? It's not a lot
it's
of money.
it's not about the money. It's about kind of like money's what you need. This is why you're starting a business, but creating those relationships, creating those partnerships, creating those friends in the industry, that goes a long way. My grandfather always used to say, like, is it, does it make you happy or does it make you rich? And it's like a really good kind of like mantra to go by, because need to be happy while you're working, because then all the money in the world's not going to solve that. So make it your passion, make it your love, make it your everything, and find those people that you like to work with, whether it be your employees, whether it be your partners, or whether it be people that you are working alongside. Just like having it like a contracting partner. My dad has a company that he's been working with for years and years and years. They build homes, they do restoration, they give him work, my
Mhm.
dad gives them work, and you have that wonderful relationship that you can continue to grow. So
Not
having
selfish,
that
right?
stuff there and not being selfish and just kind of focusing on doing what you love and making sure that money doesn't take over, I think that's a huge, huge thing.
Man, that's a big bar. Nic, before we close it out, I got to say, for a stand-in guest, I think this was a great conversation around some of the rookie mistakes that you've seen people make and how they can avoid them. So thank you for imparting all your wisdom. Before we go, is there anything else that you want to share with our audience here around how to just start things off on the right foot?
Yeah, go like that. Those are blog posts, like the 7 resources every roofer needs to grow their business. That's a great starting point with a lot of links to different companies out there, Roofing Insights, to TJ McCormick, to Martin Pettigrew, to all these different things in here to kind of like help look into it and lean into those free resources out there. Those podcasts, the everything else that are the blog posts, the webinars, all that. And last thing, join all these roofing groups. The level of the playing fields, the storm venture groups, the roofing insights, the lump sum contractor, the roofing and solar group with RoofCon and roofing.com. These are great resources to kind of look into and see a day-to-day questions from people who are just starting their business or have been in business for a long time. These are great places to go to learn every step of the way. I learn every day from those Facebook groups by just reading comments and learning about the insurance process that I wasn't a professional in and everything else. So it's really, really cool. There's a lot of free stuff, and roofers are a lot more friendly than you would think they would be. I always call us
Absolutely.
like eggs. We got hard shells and soft interiors. So we have everything in there for it. So happy that everybody were able to join. Really excited to put this up on the website and hear more. But if you do have any questions, you want to talk to your roofer reps, we have roofer.com. You can go to the and book a demo. We have the demo link above. You can talk to your customer success agent if you're on a plan already, or just send us an email. My email's nic@roofer.com. So you can reach me here. I'd love to chat more and see how we could help out.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Nick, and thank you for everyone who attended. It looks like there might have been some confusion around our time. So for those of you who joined a little bit later, apologies for the confusion and the error on our end. But if you want to rewatch this, this will be going out online on YouTube and our website soon. So fear not, you'll still hear all the gems from Nick very soon. With that, I think it's closing time, Nick.
Closing time. Can't stay. I can't go home, but you can't stay here. So we'll talk to you guys soon.